For years, I have literally been calling out AEW for doing something that I knew was going on, and I told you guys I can tell there was a difference within the product. And Tony Khan is finally admitting it in an interview. So as you can imagine, I'm excited about this because I've actually been right. In addition to that, we're going to talk about a WWE change. They're doing a change up with the commentary teams, and then also TNA Stars have re-signed. We're going to talk about who, and it's all coming up right here on the Ango Show. Welcome back to the Ango Show. First and foremost, I hope everybody had a very Merry Christmas. I hope everybody enjoyed their times. I hope everybody had good times, healthy times, safe times. I hope everybody enjoyed their holiday. I know I did, and now I'm glad to be back on the grind. As you can imagine, there's a lot of things happening in professional wrestling. We have a big SmackDown coming up. But of course, my job is to keep you guys informed. And this is a big deal because the Hardys have officially re-signed with TNA. There was rumors, there was talks that maybe the Hardys weren't going to re-sign. There was talks that maybe the Hardys were going to be in a position where they were going back to WWE, get the Hall of Fame induction, things of that nature. But the good news here, ladies and gentlemen, Matt Hardy clarified this on his podcast with John Elba, that the company and the Hardys have re-signed. He says, we had been talking about this for a while, and once we knew this new TV deal was almost together, it was right on the verge of being all the way together. It was just very fine details. They were making sure all the I's were dotted, all the T's were crossed, and then once that contract was done, we knew where we were going. We knew there was going to be some more money. We felt like this was going to be our best choice, and it's going to allow us to do some other cool things that everybody will learn about in the future as well. Wow. This is actually phenomenal news. The Hardys, they were in WWE. We saw them in AEW. The AEW thing didn't necessarily work out. They came back to TNA. I would argue that the Hardys being part of TNA was also a very big part of getting this TV deal. I know some people don't like to admit this, but TNA, back in the Spike TV days, one of the reasons why they were able to get a good TV deal was their roster. I think AEW is a perfect example. When Tony Khan is going there and he says, listen, we got Chris Jericho, we got Kenny Omega, we got these big names, it's helpful. So for me personally, I'm excited about this. I genuinely am happy to see that the Hardys have re-signed. They are going to be doing some great stuff over there. And it looks like they're trying to renew the tag team division a little bit in the company. We'll see how things work out on AMC, but very good news. Big thumbs up. That brings us to our next topic, ladies and gentlemen. WWE is making another commentary change. And some people are very, very, very nonchalant. Some people don't care. And some people don't think this is a big deal. I'm getting tired of the commentary changes in WWE. I've made that more than clear, especially whenever I talk about, Pat McAfee coming back to the company. But PW Insider has reported that Michael Cole and Corey Graves are returning to Monday Night Raw starting January 5th. Joe Tessitore is reportedly moving to SmackDown with Wade Barrett on January 2nd. WWE has yet to actually officially confirm this, but I think there is a lot of credibility within this report. And now Fightful Select is reporting that even more changes are going to be expected because Joe Tessitore will be finishing up on college football obligations. WWE sources have told Fightful that Tessitore will continue to have additional obligations and commentary teams will naturally adjust when needed. So maybe they bring in Vic Joseph, maybe they bring in Booker T, but obviously for Joe Tessitore, they'll have to work around this. I'm being honest. I'm personally not a big fan of these commentary changes. I'm not a big fan of it. I think SmackDown's been great. Raw's been great. But of course, going into the new year, Raw, January 5th, I want to say it's from the Barclays Center, CM Punk, Braun Breaker, World Championship match. There is just so much stuff happening here. This episode is going to be treated as a very big deal. And if I remember correctly, that's the episode that also isn't pre-taped. So that'll be the first time WWE's live in a few weeks because everybody got Christmas vacation. I'm just going to call it what it is. I think this is I'm a little annoyed. I'm going to be honest. I'm a very, very big fan of Joe Tessitore. I'm a very big fan of Wade Barrett. I'm a very big fan of Pat McAfee. I'm a big fan of Corey Graves and Michael Cole. I feel like WWE has an issue with, because of the fact that they allow some of these guys to do other obligations outside of WWE, I think WWE is truly having a hard time being consistent with finding the right voice for their show. And I think that seems to be a little bit of an issue for me. And again, maybe I'm being dramatic. Maybe, just maybe I'm being dramatic. But I just feel like for the last few years, WWE is always changing it up. And I feel like when it's not broken, you don't have to fix it. So why break it in the first place? And that's kind of where I'm at with it. Michael Cole being on Raw makes a lot of sense. Personally speaking, I would like to see Michael Cole, Joe Tessitore on Raw. Corey Graves, Wade Barrett on SmackDown. But then that would require another change, and maybe that change will happen at some point. But WWE, you know how they do things. This is the way they are. And you can't change them. It is what it is, for sure. And that brings us to our next topic, ladies and gentlemen. Tony Khan is finally admitting this big, big, big mistake. I've been calling it out for years, and everybody tells me I'm just a grifter. I'm an engagement whore. But that's not what we're actually seeing here. Tony Khan did an interview with John Elba from The Takedown on Sports Illustrated, and he admitted in recent years one of the biggest issues that he's had, and it's the big mistake, was that he became a little too collaborative within the creative process. Now, this is funny, because if you look at the IWC, everybody says, and trust me when I tell you, everybody says this. They write the comments down. They say, Tony Khan needs a real writing team. Tony Khan didn't have a real writing team when launching AEW. Let me be perfectly clear. AEW was always at its best when Tony Khan was the one steering the ship. 100%. Just like in WWE, creative has always been better when it's Triple H really taking control and steering the ship. But then when you find out Road Dogg is taking over SmackDown and things of that nature, you notice the creative kind of slips. So Tony Khan goes into this interview and he's talking about this. He says that he refined his approach in 2025 basically by eliminating creative meetings between shows, and then he started to take sole responsibility for outlining the episodes. And this was exactly what he did in early 2020. Now, I know you guys may not remember this, but there was a time period where there was rumors that Tony Khan was allowing the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Cody Rhodes, and all the EVPs and some top stars to have creative input in the beginning of AEW. Then you saw Tony Khan eventually say no. Like within 6 months at that time, he took over, and you just noticed some really, really good creative. Then you start to see all these other people get in the mix years later, and sure enough, creatively the company starts to be in a rut. So Tony Khan is admitting this, and he's taking control of his company. Probably a good reason as to why AEW is better. Now, let me just be very clear. If you don't like AEW now, that's okay, but it's not going to change. There's not going to be a magic button that Tony Khan presses. There's not going to be something. Tony Khan has this idea of what he wants his product to be like, and that's what you're getting. So in 2025, the most hardcore AEW fans who enjoy AEW, you will be satisfied as long as Tony Khan continues this. But if you're not satisfied with it, if you don't like AEW right now, you just need to understand it will never change, because Tony Khan knows that what he's doing right now is specifically what he wants to do. And that's all that matters. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Ango. Thank you all for watching. Have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and I'll see you guys soon.